The NBA playoffs, conference finals time, and the Lakers are in a dogfight with Dallas in the West. The Celtics and the Pistons are hooked up in a strange series in the East. We'll have the highlights, and you'll hear from the players and the coaches. Plus, we'll show you why the NBA is so fabulous at the Forum. It's all ahead on the NBA Today. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the NBA Today. I'm Larry Burnett. We're going to be talking with Detroit Pistons center Bill Laimbeer a bit later in this program, but we want to talk about the Lakers first. When they beat Utah in Game 7 of the Western Conference semis, Pat Riley said his team had played the best team they would meet in the playoffs. Well, that didn't sit too well with the Dallas Mavericks because they were the Lakers' opponent in the conference finals. But the Lakers romped over Dallas in Game 1 at the Forum and looked like gangbusters in the second game of the series as well. The stars were out for Game 2 at the Forum. They were the audience for what they hoped would be a special playoff edition of Showtime. The Lakers did not disappoint. They were in gear out of the gates. Magic Johnson had 15 points and added 19 assists. Mark Aguirre was the big gun for Dallas. He tried to keep the Mavs alive with plays like this one. But the Lakers were almost unstoppable. No matter what Dallas did, the Lakers seemed to get the ball in the hole. Byron Scott led L.A. with 30 points. Kareem had a big game as well. He had 19 points as the Lakers dumped the Mavs 123-101 to take a 2-0 lead in their Western Conference Championship Series.
We can't sit here and feel good about ourselves because we are going to their arena now, and Dallas plays well at home, and so we got to expect them to come out roaring, and they will.
Game 3 was Friday night in Dallas, and the Mavs were dead set on slowing down the Laker running game. Aguirre had 11 points in the first quarter on his way to 23. Roy Tarpley took over in the second stanza, off the bench for 10 points. He finished with 21 points and 20 rebounds. Still, Dallas led only by one, 52-51 at halftime. Both teams were running in the second half. James Worthy put L.A. on top with the first bucket of the third quarter. Worthy led 6 Lakers in double figures with 19. But late in the fourth quarter, it was Dallas up by 1 and Dallas on a run. They outscored L.A. 15-3 to wrap up a 106-94 victory. The Mavs first in 3 games against L.A. in the playoffs.
We had good team defense all throughout. We were working hard, guys switching all over the place, helping in and out, moving all around, and it was very difficult. You can't say it was anything easy for sure. We were moving our feet, and it worked out for us this evening.
You can't expect to just dominate a team continually all the time and, not have to make the correct adjustments. I think they made the correct adjustments and played the type of game that they needed to play to win. Obviously, they got the win.
Another home game for Dallas on Sunday, and again, it was a 1-point game at halftime. Magic Johnson scored the final 7 points of the half to put the Lakers on top 57-56. There were 20 lead changes and 8 ties in the first half. The game stayed tight in the second half until Derek Harper tied the game at 77 all late in the third. He then scored 7 of the Mavs' next 9 points on his way to 35 in the game. Mark Aguirre hit 5 straight buckets in the fourth quarter. He finished with 26 as Dallas evened the series at 2 games apiece with a 118-104 victory.
They were helping on Mark. That's a compliment to him that they double teamed, and he was doing a good job of getting us the ball. I didn't always have a shot. I had to move the ball a little bit further to Rolando or to Roy, whoever was open, and we did a good job of that. We really moved the ball well offensively to get the comfortable shots that we got today.
We expected it to be a dogfight, and I think you get a little bit caught up in yourself after the 2 wins at home. Dallas has shown exactly what they're about. They got a lot of confidence the other night, and they got more now. So, our work is cut out for us on Tuesday.
Well, those Lakers had their problems in the fourth quarters at Reunion Arena. They averaged just over 19 points in the final periods of Games 3 and 4, while they averaged more than 33 points in the fourth periods of Games 1 and 2 at the Forum. Good news for the Lakers. Game 5 was at the Forum Tuesday night. Dallas got out quickly in that one, but the Lakers weren't waiting for the fourth quarter to put it away. L.A. went on a 20-4 spurt in the first quarter. James Worthy was up to his acrobatic antics. He had 18 in the first half, 28 for the game. The Lakers shot 66% in the half and led 64-47 at intermission. Mark Aguirre had 31 for the Mavs, but the Lakers countered with 15 points and 20 assists from Magic Johnson and 21 points from Kareem. L.A. went up 3-2 with a 119-102 victory.
What they did was got into a Laker mode. They ran the ball well, they passed the ball extremely well. Byron got out, James Worthy got out on the break. And when you ignite a team that is so used to running the ball up the floor like that, they get to be comfortable.
Our Master Lock Defensive Play of the Week comes from that Game 5 in the West. Actually, there were several key D plays in the game, courtesy of Mr. James Worthy. Game 5, first quarter action. Nice reject here on Mark Aguirre. Worthy had 3 blocks in the game. He also made 3 steals. Here he picks off James Donaldson's pass, takes it down for the jam. John McLeod says timeout. That should be our Master Lock Defensive Play of the Week. You know what, John? You're right. Some news from the NBA. Matt Guokas has been named the first head coach of the Orlando Magic, an expansion team which doesn't begin play until the 1989-90 season. Guokas was 119-90 with Philadelphia before he was fired at the All-Star break this year. Up next, the Eastern Conference playoffs, where those Celtics and Pistons are at it once again.
The NBA.
Welcome back once again. The Celtics and the Pistons are battling for the Eastern Conference crown. The same 2 teams that went 7 games last year in that rough and tumble series that Boston eventually won. The home court advantage held throughout that series. Boston had the advantage again this year as the Eastern Conference Finals began Wednesday night in Boston. Kevin McHale got the Boston inside game going early, and the Celtics moved out to a 53-52 halftime lead. Matters got worse for Detroit in the second half. Bill Laimbeer went out with a shoulder injury and missed the last 19 minutes of the game. Rick Mahorn was already hurting from a back injury, and John Salley was in foul trouble. But the Celtics' inside game disappeared, and the outside game wasn't clicking.
We were just ugly on the offensive end. That's pure decision-making on the offensive end. Just no patience. And so we like to see a little more patience.
Isaiah Thomas started off the fourth quarter with this back-it-up-and-shoot-it three-pointer, and he added 13 more points in the quarter on his way to 35. The Pistons won 104-96, their first win in 22 straight tries at the Garden, but a win Detroit kept in perspective.
You know, we're in a playoff situation. We're in a 7-game series with the Celtics, and in order to beat the Celtics, we've got to win 4 games, not just 1. So just because we won 1 basketball game here tonight does not necessarily mean that we've beaten the Celtics.
Game 2 Thursday night, and it was crazy. Thomas again led Detroit, 24 points this night, but Boston kept finding ways. Danny Ainge hit this unbelievable shot with 28 seconds left. Game 2 was going to overtime, tied 102-102. The Pistons got a slow start in OT, but Thomas nailed a three-pointer with 7 seconds left, and Detroit led 109-106. The Celtics looked dead, but with one last try, Kevin McHale launched a shot with 5 seconds on the clock. It was good, and it counted as a three-pointer, a controversial three-pointer at that, and only the second for McHale in his 8-year pro career. It tied the game at 109 and set up double overtime.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I honestly, all I know is I got the ball and I shot it. I don't know. You know, I mean, that's every shot I take. I don't tell them I'm doing. I just get the ball and shoot it. That's the key to being a good shooter.
Dennis Johnson hit 6 straight points down the stretch to total 22 in a 119-115 Boston victory, which tied the series at a game apiece.
If we go in and we don't really take Detroit light or don't really go out there just thinking that let's just try and stay in the game or whatever. We want to go out there and we want to win. We want to take one game at a time.
Well, those Pistons came out of Boston with a split, but after winning Game 1, they really thought they could take both games from the Celtics at the Garden. Detroit was getting good play out of their bench, and Larry Bird was having a tough time shooting. He hit 8 of 20 in Game 1, 6 of 20 in Game 2. He was in the midst of a shooting slump as the series headed for Pontiac. Bird's shooting woes continued in Game 3 Saturday at the Silverdome. He scored 18 points, but hit only 6 of 17 shots from the field. That put him at 35% in 3 games against Detroit in the playoffs. Detroit's Joe Dumars found a cure. He hit his first 6 shots, scored 19 in the first half as the Pistons went up 58-50 at intermission. Kevin McHale had the hot hand again for Boston. He scored 32 points. But Dumars was too much. He pumped in 29 points after averaging single digits in the first 2 games at Boston. Detroit won 98-94 to go up 2 games to 1.
Hey, when you got it going, you got to keep putting it up until it doesn't go, and then that's what I did. Shots were there, took them, knocked them down, missed a couple, and we went to somebody else, and that's how this team goes. Just so happened it was my day to do that.
Just when folks were counting the Celtics out, they came back off the canvas and won Game 4 Monday with an assist from the Pistons. Detroit missed 20 straight shots in one first-half span and shot 33% for the game. The Celtics led 16-10 after the first quarter, the lowest scoring first stanza in NBA playoff history. Bill Laimbeer was the only Piston hitting. He had 18 first-half points, half the Detroit total as they trailed by 10 at halftime, 46-36.
We missed a lot of open shots. You know, it's hard to explain, but it happened.
It got stranger. Larry Bird picked up his 4th foul in the 3rd quarter and went to the bench for more than 9 minutes. He came back to score the first 7 points of the final period and finished with 20. Later, with the game tied at 78, Adrian Dantley's alley-oop inbounds pass went in. Whoops, that's a no-no. No basket. Dennis Johnson hit one of 2 free throws at the other end to put Boston up 79-78. And Detroit had a last gasp. Bill Laimbeer passed up the 3-point attempt with time running out. And Joe Dumars tried the lane for the game winner. It didn't go. The Pistons cried goaltending on Robert Parrish, but it was all over. All tied at 2 games apiece as the Celtics won 79-78. The second lowest score in playoff history. And Boston's 79 points, the second lowest for a winning team in playoff history.
It was really something. I mean, there was no rhythm out there at all to any offense or defensive, offensive flow. The defense controlled the whole game both ways. And, you know, if you're only going to score 79 points, you better make damn sure you hold them to 78, and we did tonight.
There's a good philosophy. Bill Laimbeer was the only player who saw action in Game 4 who hit more than half of his shots. Laimbeer finished with 29 points. He had only scored 18 in the first 3 games against Boston. Now, a lot has been made about the battle of the benches in that series, and here are the numbers. The Celtics are averaging just under 39 minutes per game from their bench, while Detroit is averaging more than 84 minutes per game, with a high of 108 minutes in Game 2 at Boston. The Celtics bench is averaging 9 points per game against Detroit, with a low of 1. 1 single point in Game 4, but remember, the Celtics won that game by 1 point. Now, Detroit is averaging 32 points per game, with a high of 52 in Game 2. Rebounding is much the same. The Celtics bench gets just over 5 boards per game, while the Pistons get almost 19 per contest. Ironically, the game in which the Pistons bench had the greatest advantage over the Boston bench was Game 2, and the Celtics won that game. We're going to take a break, and then we'll go to Boston to talk with Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons. But first, here are the playoff stat leaders from the teams which are still alive, all courtesy Digital Equipment Corporation. NBA today. As we tape this program, the Detroit Pistons are preparing for Game 5 with the Celtics in Boston. That series tied at 2 games apiece. And joining us now from Boston is Bill Laimbeer, the center for the Pistons. Bill, you've got to be wondering how good your team has got to play to win a game in this series and how bad you've got to play to actually lose a game. It's been a weird series, hasn't it?
It has been a weird series. As Chuck Daly, our coach, said earlier in the series, we're going to have to win 6 games just to win 4. It looks to be the case.
What is the situation now as far as the team is concerned with Chuck Daly's situation? He's working without a contract now. Is that a distraction to the team?
I don't think so. I think all the players know that this is a business, and Chuck treats it as such. He's always, when the players have holdouts, he's not the one to worry about it. He says they have to take care of their own business, and we have to realize that it's a business for Chuck, too, and he has to go about his thing, get the best deal he can for himself.
Bill, what's your status now? You had the shoulder injury in the Boston series in the Garden. Obviously, it didn't hurt you in Game 4 with the 29 points, but is that a bothersome thing for you?
It is a little bit, you know, but if you don't talk about it, you have a tendency to forget about it. So it's better left unsaid. And if I don't think about it, it's not a problem.
Can you comment on how physical the series has been? Because we always hear that when you get to the playoffs, the refs are going to let you play a little bit more and do a little bit more. I think it's been unbelievable what's been going on in the paint.
Well, personally, that's just the way the Detroit Pistons play. I don't think it's any different than how we play during the regular season. It's just a lot of people don't get a chance to see us play. And we're going out there and doing the same things we have over the course of the season. It's just now there's more media attention to what's been going on.
Because the Pistons play the way they do, this team has gotten a reputation over the years, that bad boy image that people have talked about. Does that intimidation factor help in the playoffs, or is it a reality?
Well, I don't think there's any intimidation factor. I think we play good, sound, physical basketball. We don't have a lot of the quickness that some other clubs might have, so we have to use our bodies very well. And I think we do it effectively. You know, inside the paint is where a lot of the game's won, and our job is to keep them out of there. And we're not shot blockers, so we have to do it with a little bit of pushing and shoving.
Bill, stay where you are for just a little bit. We're going to take a break and come back and talk more with you. We are going to talk more with Bill Laimbeer here on the NBA Today. But first, a playoff memory from K.C. Jones from 1984.
Greatest memory is my first year as head coach with the Celtics. And I'm not expected to come anywhere close to 60 wins in a season. And by golly, I won a championship.
We are back here on the NBA Today, and we're talking with Bill Laimbeer of the Detroit Pistons. Bill, does what happened in Game 5 last year with the steal late in the game when it looked like you had the big win against the Celtics, does that make this year's Game 5 even more important?
No, I don't think so. I think last year's Game 5 is long gone in our memories. I'm sure when we retire, we'll think about it, but right now our most important thing is the next game. I don't care if it's Game 5 or Game 1 or Game 7. The next game is the most important, and we're treating every game like it's Game 7.
Some of the players that have been talking from the Pistons have said, we've got to go into Boston and steal another win. You got that in Game 1, but the way that the Celtics have won games in this series, does that put a little psych job on you guys going into Game 5?
Yes and no. Coming down the stretch, I'm sure we'll think about, you know, what do we got to do to put the Celtics away, but we're a very confident basketball team. We have a lot of players who will step up and take charge, and I think, you know, coming down the stretch in this game, we just have to go and take it instead of letting the game come to us. That's been part of our problem. We haven't been aggressive enough down the stretch.
Bill, a lot has been made about the two benches in this series, and unquestionably yours has come through as it has all season long. Especially when you got injured, these guys came through for you. I'm talking about Sally and Rodman, and in particular James Edwards.
Well, we have an outstanding bench. We've always thought that's been one of our main strengths throughout the course of the season. And picking up James Edwards, all we talked about throughout the last half of the season was how much of a factor he could be in a series against Boston in the playoffs, as we expected to play Boston, and what we thought has proven correct.
I don't want to give any fuel to the fire going into the game, but is there any question in your mind, in the mind of the Pistons at this point, that Detroit is finally going to make it into the finals this year?
I think we're a better team. I think I emphasize team because they have a better starting five, but over the course of a game and over the course of a series, I think our overall strength should take its toll, and we should be able to win this series.
Bill Laimbeer, thanks for joining us, and good luck the rest of the way. It's been an interesting series, and we're looking forward to the next couple of games.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bill Laimbeer joining us from Boston. Coming up, we're going to take a look at that star-studded crowd at the Fabulous Forum, a place where they really love their Lakers.
Time now for the Fisher Nuts Nuttiest Play of the Week.
It happened in the Silverdome, the waning moments of the Celtics-Pistons Game 4. Game tied at 78. 2 seconds left on the Pistons shot clock. Adrian Dantley inbounds it right into the hoop. Dennis Johnson says, no, that's no good. John Sally says, yeah, it is. I touched it. Referee Darrell Garrettson correctly calls it no basket. What did Chuck Daly say there? Let's take a look at the low-angle replay. Rule says you can't make a field goal directly from an inbounds pass. Sally would have had to tip it first. It's pretty nutty.
Honey.
There are a lot of great arenas in which to see an NBA game, but if you don't want to be seen at an NBA game, you better not show up at the Forum in Inglewood, California on a night when the Lakers are playing.
If you tell your agent to tell a producer you're out of town, you don't want to come to the Forum that night.
I don't come to the game, I come to get work.
I come to see celebrities, as many as I can.
It's nothing like a Hollywood party. It's much more entertaining.
I love that Diane Cannon hardly wears anything at the games.
A little stuffy. A little gamey. It's great. What are you, kidding? It's the Forum.
Another perfect day. I love LA.
And the entertainment business has taken this team to heart. They play the exciting kind of basketball that's show business. It's a flash kind of crowd here.
The atmosphere of the Forum is the best atmosphere there is. It reminds me, I'm going to date myself, but the old Madison Square Garden.
I love the sport, and I love to watch the greats do what they do. I love to watch... I mean, sometime watching these guys run this court, it's almost choreographed. It's so beautiful.
We love it.
What about the Laker girl?
It's good. We were discussing the new math and its implications in society before the game, and discussion of Kafka, so it was interesting.
And the Schopenhauer-Nietzsche, the comparison between Schopenhauer and Nietzsche. I thought they had some interesting things to say about that.
They weren't sure who they played for, but they were sure that they were great competitors.
NBA action? It's not bad.
All right, thanks to John Hamlin for that piece. Keep in mind, if the Lakers and the Mavs go to Game 7, that game will be played Saturday at the Forum. The NBA Finals will begin Tuesday night, June 7th. That's it for this program. I'm Larry Burnett. We'll see you again next week on the NBA Today.
The NBA Today has been brought to you by Masterlock, the official sponsor of the NBA Defensive Player and Defensive Team of the Year. By Sheraton, hospitality people of ITT, the official hotel sponsor of the NBA. And by Canon, photographic consultant to the National Basketball Association.
Coming up on SportsCenter, the Celtics and Pistons hope to warm up their shooting percentages in Game 5 of their Eastern Conference Final. He's done his time, and today he's out. But will Pete Rose be on good behavior? We'll tell you. Lindell and McEnroe at the French Open, the match that lasts